Visibility beyond pixels. Impact beyond words. Women's Impact Circle podcast. One empowering story at a time. Hosted by Paulina Palka.
Hello, today my guest is Lilian. Lilian is a PR coach and publicist. She helps creative entrepreneurs to gain confidence to be media ready and build their personal brands online. Hello, Lilian. Can you introduce yourself and tell a bit more what you do in your business and who you help?
Sure. Hi, Paulina. Appreciate you having me. As a PR coach and publicist, I work primarily with creative entrepreneurs and small businesses to help the businesses and the entrepreneurs bust past their limiting beliefs. So their fear, their anxiety, their imposter syndrome that might be holding them back from moving forward with their brands. A lot of the entrepreneurs I work with are often stuck in a rut when it comes to growing their brands and getting out in front of audiences, everything. And I work with them on how to build their confidence in sharing their stories with global audiences, with the media, and using the media as a conduit to reach their ideal customers. And I do that through my one-on-one coaching where we focus a lot on mindset. I also guide them and give them perspective and clarity on how to build and launch successful PR campaigns. So we go through all the different elements such as, this is why you need to build a media kit. This is how you do it. This is how to save time and energy when you're trying to research the right people to get in front of when it comes to the media. And this is how to write a fantastic media pitch that's going to get you the responses that you want to get from the media so that you can get in front of the ideal audiences. And I decided to do this because I noticed how much a lot of the entrepreneurs, even in my own network, were struggling, and how much that they really needed that sort of personalized guidance and support. And a lot of them weren't getting the results that they wanted just doing social media and also email. So I decided to start coaching as part of my business because I had a few of them come up to me and also say, hey, I would love to work with you, but I can't afford a campaign. So I wanted a way to work with these fantastic entrepreneurs instead of just turning them away just because they couldn't afford a campaign. So that's kind of how I got started a little bit on the coaching side of things and what I do as a coach and also a publicist as well.
Absolutely fantastic. I love it because it's easy to say, oh, you need a PR, you need more visibility, you need more personal brands. But what I'm really seeing as well, as you already said, and you've done your research and got whole business based on it, if you don't have confidence and believe that you can do something, you're going nowhere. It's very, very difficult. And can you tell a bit more about the role, of mindset in this whole process? Because if we're trying to say to someone, oh, it looks like you got the wrong mindset, it looks like you should, thinking more this way, we will meet, resistance on the other side. So can you tell me a bit more about how you work? How do you know this is a mindset or something else?
Well, mindset, a lot of people, most of us spend most of our lives going on autopilot. We do a lot of things in business because industry leaders or experts we take workshops from have said things like, this is the best way to do this, therefore you should follow it. And we get frustrated when we don't see those results. And what we don't realize is so much of our mindset is our subconscious thoughts and how they influence the actions we take or actions we don't take. And a lot of the times when we allow ourselves to be led by other people, or we allow ourselves to be like, oh, it was successful for this person, therefore it will work for me. That's coming at it from a place of comparison. That's coming at it from a place of fear, where you're like, if I don't follow somebody's strategy to the letter, I'm not going to get the results that I want. When really what you should be doing, instead of reacting from fear and looking at it as, if I do this, what do I have to lose? Switching your mindset to look at it from a standpoint of, if I do this, what can I learn? How can I keep this going and growing long term so that I'm getting in front of the right people? With that mindset shift, now instead of focusing on someone else's strategy and the fact that what they're doing works for them, now it's like, I'm prioritizing my goals and what I need to do to reach those goals. And that's how it should be, because the moment you start comparing, and the moment you start thinking that, oh, this person knows what they're doing because they have all the connections and the knowledge, and I have no idea what I'm doing, and therefore that means I can never attain that level of success. If you're coming at it from that negative mindset, all you're going to get is negative results, because you're not focusing on your end goal, and moreover, you don't have a positive outlook on reaching that goal. You're reacting with fear, you're reacting with anxiety. You're sitting there, even as you're doing it, telling yourself, I'm never going to get anywhere. And that's really what can negatively impact whether or not you get the results you want, instead of switching your mindset to go, what someone else is doing doesn't matter, because that's their journey. That's their goals. That's their strategy. What I should be focusing on is, where am I going? Where do I want to go? And more importantly, where do I need to invest in myself and in my business that's going to give me the support and the knowledge that I need to get to where I need to go? And a lot of this are things that most entrepreneurs don't think about when it comes to their marketing. Not even PR, just marketing in general, because they look for, what can I get into quickly? What can I get into easily? And what can I get into that's going to save me money? And I understand that, because I'm in the same boat. I've been an entrepreneur almost 20 years. Like, I understand this very, very well. But the fact of the matter is that it's not always going to be about cost. It should also be about the value you get out of it, and the long-term goals that you can get on, okay, is this person that I'm working with, or this agency that I'm working with, actually going to get me to where I need to go, or where I want to go? Like increasing sales. Maybe I want to do more keynote addresses at conferences. Maybe I want to do more trade shows where I sell my products and everything, all of those things. And how can I work with these people to get to where I need to go? Because the idea of asking for help is not a bad thing. It really isn't, because no entrepreneur should do any of this stuff alone. You really shouldn't. But the difficult part is figuring out what's the best kind of help that's really going to be customized to where I need to go.
Yeah.
And how I want to continue to grow, right? And when you talk about money investments, that's where it should go towards, as opposed to what's going to be the least amount of money that I can spend to get me those results the quickest.
Definitely. Yes, it sounds just, just right. But, I got just one thought now. Do you think someone can fake mindset, something kind of like, fake it till you make it, or you genuinely have to, what is the journey? How do you see it, through the process with your clients? Like, can you fake it, the mindset, or you have to work it through till you see the results and start to feeling the change?
Mindset is not something you can fake because it is your subconscious thoughts and it influences you more than you think it will. Because a lot of this also, what I do with my clients is I work with them to dig a little bit deeper on if you are afraid, if you do have anxiety, where is that coming from, right? Because for a lot of us, at least in my experience, I was never supported as an entrepreneur. I grew up being told that that's not something I could do. So I had anxiety. I had that need for control over my business. Like I wanted to have an ironclad grip on everything. So
Yeah.
for my clients and the audience members that I talk to about this, I completely understand where they're coming from with that. But then it's also, okay, now that we know where that's coming from, how can you push past that? Right? The other thing that I see with some entrepreneurs is when things are going well. Like let's say they do have enough business to pay their bills and they are growing and everything. But when things are going well, a lot of people don't think there's anything wrong or there's anything they can improve upon. That's the other thing that I see a lot. And it's like, okay, well, let's be honest, are things always going to be this consistent for you? Probably not. Are there other ways that you could be showing up to build trust with your customers? Because like it or not, for the small businesses and the entrepreneurs that rely primarily on email and social media, that audience can only grow to a certain size. Because what happens with the algorithm is they just keep showing your content to the same people. And those people may already buy from you, but maybe they'll share your content with their audiences and then only the certain people out of their audiences see it. Then it becomes, okay, where are you growing then? Because you just keep seeing the same people and the same people keep seeing you that are already buying from you. And then the other part of it goes that they don't spend enough time thinking about is the idea of high profile third party credibility and validation. Like what PR does for you is that you are getting in front of all these different audiences on platforms that they trust, on platforms that they trust, on platforms that they get their content from, and on platforms that they've spent maybe years supporting. And that is powerful, powerful support that you can't get just from you always sharing your own content, right? And these are some of the major things that a lot of entrepreneurs don't spend enough time thinking about, I find, even when their businesses are going well. It's like, what is the next level? And how can you get to that next level if you don't build these kinds of relationships? Because your audience can only grow so big. And if you would rather spend your money on things like advertising, they have to see it 20 times before it sinks in. And you're showing it to people that don't know you. These are completely cold audiences.
No trust.
Right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. PR, on the other hand, you do an interview with a particular podcast, or maybe you show up on the local news.
Yeah.
People trust that platform, therefore they start to trust you. And the more that they see your content on that platform, they'll go, oh, hey, maybe I am looking for a gift for so-and-so's birthday. Maybe I should check them out. Or maybe I'm looking to read a new book. Maybe I should go check out this author or whoever it is, right? And these are things that advertising cannot buy you. And just doing social media and email on your own is not going to get you there.
Absolutely. Oh, yes. I agree with you. This is like there is only certain level you can go on with your audience, and maybe to some extent audience of your audience. But what are the most like you all like maybe not see, but the fear that you think there are like more, more often seeing within of entrepreneurial world, like I can't really do it because I am not very, I am not photogenic. I can't just speak on podcast. Maybe I will say something stupid. I am not this kind of person. What kind of fears you see that in general they are just limiting beliefs?
Well, what you just talked about, those are fantastic examples. The other really big ones that I see are when they say, I don't have $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to spend on a campaign, and I also don't have an audience in the millions, right? So if I don't have that, what's the point in me doing PR? And the way I educate my clients, because I do a lot of webinars, I've given a lot of presentations on this type of
Yes.
thing as well, is the fact that PR can work for anybody. It is not just for the big celebrities with audiences in the millions. You don't have to spend $30,000 on a campaign to make it successful. What you need to do, though, is to have a really, really strong understanding of what your story is, what your goals are, and the strategy you're going to build to share your story with audiences in order to reach those goals. Like, as an example, you don't have to spend $30,000 on a campaign, but if you wanted to book more speaking engagements, let's say, you have to know and have a very solid understanding of what am I actually going to talk about with people when I stand up in front of them, and who do I want to speak to? What sort of
Exactly.
conferences and places like that do I actually want to apply for, right? So people spend so like they get sucked into that line of thinking where it's like I need a lot of money and I need a large audience. No, what you need to do is understand and embrace like what your story is, because people are going to want to get to know you in order to build that trust and to buy from you, and who you want to get in front of. Once you know that, then it's a matter of connecting the two and going, how am I going to get in front of these people?
Growth mindset, exactly, not why, but how, with what. And I love that you said, I read on your website that you believe that actually every entrepreneur, every person got some kind of story, some background, some unique advantage they can speak about. How do you find this with your clients?
Well, I look at it as, everybody has their own journey, right? For a lot of my clients, some of them are still working full time while building their businesses, right? But it's like,
Yeah,
okay, there's a reason why you decided to move from full time employment to build your own business. What is that reason? What's the story behind it? I've worked with a lot of more entrepreneurs on the creative side. So a lot of your filmmakers and authors and people like that.
yeah,
And not all of them started out, obviously, making money on what it is that they're doing, but they decided to do it because that passion and that love for the art form came from
yeah,
somewhere. So then the question
true.
becomes, okay, how did that start? Like, did you pick up a video camera when you were a kid and got inspired from some of your favorite directors? Or did you decide to start writing because you had a teacher in school who said you'd be really good at it, and he or she encouraged you to go on this journey? Like, these are the kinds of stories that
Mm,
audiences love hearing because it's relatable to them. It's
it's relatable.
relatable to them, and it gives them more context on why the business matters, why what you do matters. Like if you're selling a product, there's, two of the same two companies that sell the same product, same features, same product specs and things. They can do similar things to help customers solve the problems. If the price point is the same and everything, what's going to make somebody trust you over that other company? And oftentimes that comes down to the story that you share, and when you talk about what makes you different and the impact that you want to make with what you're doing. Similarly, in the creative fields that I work with a lot of clients in, people have finite attention spans and they have finite disposable income. So if they come across a fantasy book or a romance book or a horror film, and two are very similar, what's going to make them want to sit down and read yours or watch yours over someone else's right now, right? And oftentimes that comes down to, who is this person? And what are the other things that I pay attention to? The podcasts, the video shows, the blogs, the websites. What's everybody else saying about them? Because, that endorsement from these other platforms that people trust goes a long way.
Yes. This is something that's this is like starting point for everyone. If you don't believe like you are PRable, start with your story. This is what I think that might be helpful for anyone listening. That every single person got, like you said, Lilian, their own unique angle of story experiences they can use. And a lot of people struggle with storytelling. I know this is your kind of thing. For someone who just starting and they don't have money for even coaching, and they just going through all internet materials that are available there, what do you advise to start with? Because storytelling is hard, isn't it? This is something you have to put like the sparkle to interest the person. Is there any, maybe not frame, not not kind of this way, but do you have any advice to how to start doing this as entrepreneur?
Really, it comes down to a willingness to sit down and actually, like, what I find really helps is if someone starts journaling. It's really helpful in regards to just getting your thoughts down on getting introspective on what inspires you to do things, on why you want to do things. I mean, I would even suggest that a lot of business owners, without realizing this, probably do this, and if they don't, they should, prior to developing a new product or a new service. You're writing down all these things about things like, what's the impact I want to make? What is this actually going to do for my target audience? How is this going to solve the problems that they have? And a lot of this can be part of your story. Like if you are developing something that you feel like you yourself needed, then you can tell people, I started this XYZ because years ago when I was in the same boat you were, this wasn't around and I needed something like this, right? So it's really about, like, there's a lot of super helpful, insightful blog posts, websites, webinars, all this kind of knowledge and literature out there. But ultimately, I think to start as a first step, before you even get into all of that, is giving yourself the opportunity to sit down and just start journaling about who you are, why you do what you do, how you do it. Because I tell my clients this all the time, and this is something that comes up all the time in presentations I do.
Oh,
What you do is not unique. There are thousands of entrepreneurs that sell what you sell, that offer the same services, that do what you do. But how you do it and why you do it is what's going to matter to somebody, because that's what makes you unique. So to get comfortable actually sharing your story with someone else, you have to get comfortable sharing your story with yourself. And I
tell
find that
yourself.
writing it down is a great way to make it more tangible. As soon as it's on the piece of paper, it becomes more real. And it's not just living around in your head, and you're not, it's on the paper. And that's something that you can always refer back to, as you're going along and as you're gathering more research and trying to gain more knowledge and figuring out, where do I want to take this and who can I ask for help with?
That's a very, very important question, isn't it? To just ask yourself, what I'm bringing to the table outside of my product. And that has been a pain for many entrepreneurs. Like, where is the line? When I'm speaking about, for example, my business, where is the line where I speak about myself? And I got this a lot on LinkedIn, especially people asking me how much of information about myself to put out there, to be authentic, but not to come across as someone arrogant or someone who is talking only about uh, themselves. Do you see that as well, that people are afraid of talking about themselves?
Oh, absolutely. That is actually one of the biggest mindset blocks for a lot of entrepreneurs when doing things like interviews, especially. And what I always tell my clients is there is a line and a difference between what is personal versus what is private. And only you get to decide where that line is. However, within the realm of what's personal, there's a lot you can tell them about what you've learned as an entrepreneur. Those are always stories that people really grab onto. What you've learned, how you've changed, how you've grown, things that maybe with the knowledge that you have now, if you had it years ago, certain things you would do differently. I know that the realm of my clients getting asked, like, what sort of advice would you have for somebody else that's starting out in this field based on the experiences and the knowledge that you have, right? So there's absolutely a line between what is personal versus what is private, and you choose where that line is. What I tell my clients to make it easier for them to separate the two is, when we're talking about what's personal, um, the key is to not treat an interview like a therapy session, right?
Oh,
They
yes.
don't need to know all of the details of, difficult situations you've been in. However, what they are interested in knowing is what the difficult situation was, how you got out of it, and what you've learned from it, and how that's influenced what you do now
What do you do now?
compared to, how you were maybe perhaps running your business before that, right?
Yeah.
So you always have a choice on what you choose to share. And on top of that, you have a choice, if you are asked a particular question, whether or not you want to answer it. And if you
Oh,
do
yes.
answer it, how much you choose to share as well. That's something that's always under your control. So I think it's really about figuring out, in terms of what's personal, how is that tied necessarily into your entrepreneurship journey, into your journey of discovering and researching how to develop this product or this project or this service, And how can you share the story on that without going into every single detail in your life, right? What they're looking for is broad strokes. They don't necessarily need really, really specific details.
Yes, 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 that's true. I just realized that. Oh, that's very insightful. Thank you so much. So basically, is that true? That doesn't matter on what point of your, you know, where are you in your journey? You can start reaching out to media, to journalists, podcasters, whatever, with your story.
I believe that you can. The difficulty there is making sure that you know what you want to tell people and you know why you're telling it to people, right? Because building a strategy without goals means that you're just wasting your time because you're not getting the results that you want to get if you don't even have goals to measure them against on like, okay, am I actually getting where I even want to go? If you don't have goals,
Exactly.
you wouldn't have any idea, right? So no matter where you are in your journey, it's a matter of gaining that confidence and being confident of like, this is what my story is. These are the people I want to share it with. And this is why I want to share it with these people. And I know for a lot of people that are more early stage entrepreneurs, they often feel like they don't have enough experience or expertise to share with people, and that's why they don't do that. When in reality, every entrepreneur starts somewhere. We all came from somewhere.
Yes.
And whether you know it or not, you have a foundation of experiences, of knowledge, and in some cases, years and years of expertise before you became an entrepreneur. That's an
Oh, yeah.
important part of your story too. Like even if you just opened your doors for your business 6 months ago, well, what were you doing before that? Where did this urge to open your own business come from, and how did the experience, the knowledge, and the expertise that you've cultivated for years in your industry influence you to do that? Like that's a story as well, right? So
Yeah.
it's not like somebody got up this morning and decided, hey, I'm going to open my own business, and you just open your own business without spending weeks, months, years preparing for that. Like everybody has that story. They just have to embrace that as part of that story. It's not like the 5, 10, 25 years that you spent working for somebody else happened to somebody else. And then it's like, oh, I'm starting over now. It's like, no, that's part of your story too. And that's a huge part of what people want to hear from you, because that's such a huge part of your story, and it really influences why you chose to open your own business, right? So to me, everybody has the ability to share that story. It's just a matter of having confidence in that story and not looking at it as, oh, well, right, or that like I like because I opened one business and it didn't do well, that means I failed and nobody wants to hear about that. Instead of looking at it as a negative, changing your mindset to, I did that, it didn't work, but here's what I learned from it. That's extremely powerful. And these are the kinds of things that people will sit up and listen to and go, oh, I could learn something from this person because I'm going through exactly the same thing, and this could help me, right? That's the other thing that I think not enough people think about, and that is, how can sharing my story help somebody else who's going through the same things that I went through a year, 5, 10 years ago.
Very, very important, isn't it? We used to think, and I truly believe that's the most of human beings say, but why my life is important to someone else? And from business perspective, well, it is because entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey, and we just want to relate to someone, to hear, oh my goodness, this is not only my problem in my head, someone actually been through the same. So thank you for highlighting this. Do you got any tips or advice for people who think like, oh, maybe I will, maybe I know, I won't start, reaching out, or just basically maybe write something down as a strategy? Do you got any advice for people out there?
Ultimately, I think building a strategy starts with an idea. And within that idea, and that idea can end up being your goal. Like, I want to sell X amount of books in 6 months. I want to have this many speaking engagements, within a year. If that is your idea, then you have to take that idea, maybe have like a calendar end date on it, and then work backwards. Work backwards on, okay, you have this idea that, this could be your ultimate goal. How are you going to get there?
Yeah.
Are there different places or people that maybe you could ask for advice on how to get there? Are there maybe opportunities that they could share with you that might be a good fit? And if you're looking for some personalized support, one of the things that I have a series of articles that I have on LinkedIn, and I also have a social media post on Instagram related to this as well. And it's known as What You Need to Know Before Working with a Publicist.
Oh.
So in addition to figuring out the questions you want to ask somebody if you're interested in working with them, you have to make sure that you have certain amount of things ready to go before talking to them too. So having your ultimate goal is step number 1. Step number 2 is having some sort of idea on how you're going to get there, right? So like if you want to sell X amount of products, it's like, okay, have you researched local markets? Have you looked at trade shows? What about online stores, right? Like giving the people that you're looking to get help from something to work with, right? That way, when you go to them, you can say, okay, I have this goal to sell this many products or whatever by the end of the year. So that's my annual goal. And I've kind of looked a little bit into these different areas, but I'm not too deep yet. And I was wondering if you had suggestions on where else I could sort of approach, right? And that's something, to me, that's a formula that works not just to ask a publicist on, hey, how do I build a PR strategy that's going to help me build these relationships and reach these goals. That's also a framework that you can put together to ask people in your network of, hey, this is what I want to do.
Sorry, we had some technical issues, but now we are back. So can we get back to the point? Like, this is not a formula only for publicists, but also for network.
Yeah, as I was saying, it really comes down to, if you're going to ask for help from anybody, you want to make sure that you have the proper goals in place, that you have some idea of where to go to reach those goals. And also, if you like, and this helps out the person that is going to be giving you recommendations and stuff too, if you can, like if this person is in your network, pay attention to see whether or not they've had experiences doing these things, right? Because chances are somebody who has had a lot of experience doing trade shows, or somebody who's had a lot of experience speaking at conferences, or like a publicist that has had, and you can see that they've had experience getting interviews for people in your industry, they're going to have much stronger ideas, recommendations, and strategies for you than if you're asking somebody who's never done any of that.
Oh, this is very good insight, because people seem to, they just throwing, their invites, around, just hoping to get somewhere. So this is very important, in my opinion, as well, to get some strategy and very good insight to look into people who got more experience within the area. I know you've got a lot of resources that can actually help people, and I will list them in description below. But is there like one specific you would like to invite people to download, watch, or read that will help them to start their journey with PR?
I have a fantastic PR Power Play workbook, and this is a workbook that not only will provide anyone who kind of goes through it with prompts on things like what brings me anxiety when I think about interviews and things like that. It asks some really key questions on things like how they get inspired, what motivates them, things to help them build their story. There's a section on why certain popular PR myths are false, and sort of the mindset blocks that you have that push you to believe in those things. So it's a really fantastic sort of first step kind of workbook that they can use to brainstorm their own story. They can follow the prompts and write down what some of their mindset blocks are. And they have some additional resources in there as well to help them build healthier coping mechanisms by using affirmations and mantras to push past those limiting beliefs every single time they come up. So that's really kind of my, probably my favorite of my free resources that I would recommend to anybody looking to kind of get started in this area, and even just get a better perspective and a better handle on their own marketing strategies, even outside of PR.
Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Thank you for recommending. I will list them all below. What is the best way to connect with you when people can reach out? Is that LinkedIn, website, Facebook, or any other way?
They can absolutely follow me on Instagram at Lilian Sue Copywriter PR. I'm on there 5 days a week, posting tips and strategies and different ideas, things like that. They can also send me an email through my website at In Retrospect Writing Services.com. That's also where they can sign up for my newsletter to get things like mindset tips and stay updated on my events and projects that I have coming up, including my first book that I'm publishing on PR. And they can also, I'm also active on LinkedIn. So if you send me a message on LinkedIn, just under Lilian Sue there, I will definitely get back to you, and we can have a chat about any burning questions you have about PR. I'm always happy to help.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been enlightening, speaking to you. Thank you so much for all insights you gave us, and hopefully see you somewhere online. Thank you so much for being my guest, and I wish you all the best. Take care, Lilian. Sorry. Take care,
You're welcome,
Lilian.
Paulina.
Bye.